episode that we'll have podcast, we are talking about the issue around co-parenting. Together with me in the studio, I've got two gentlemen who were talking about the issue before we go for the break. Welcome back, gentlemen. Let's pick it up from where we left. We were talking about the issue around balancing our indifferences with our partners and making sure that we give the best to our children. I want to start with you, Ngozi. In your counseling space, I think the very part that you always bring forth and forward is for the two partners to understand that their children are the fundamentals in this relationship. No matter their differences and no matter how things have turned out to be for them, but the children still expect their father and their mother to raise them up. Then how then do you find that in the counseling room when now you are faced with people that have actually divorced or people that have decided to separate but will want to co-parent?
There's always a difficulty.
Yeah.
Very difficult because, like you are raising the issue of children. They are always a center of contestation.
True.
I always tell people about my own story. That I asked Gogo, why didn't you marry?
Okay.
Because you had us, myself and my brother, and this thing is always ringing in my head.
Okay.
The response she gave me. She said, I didn't want to risk bringing a man into our relationship who may then abuse you guys.
Sure.
I never had a time to ask what kind of abuse.
Yeah.
She just said, if I had brought a man, you are somebody's children, you are my children. I bring in a man and a man is going to then not take you guys seriously because you are not his. So I found that in counseling also, that when we discuss the fact that you have got children, you've got children, how are you going to manage? Are they going to stay with you in this newly formed family now?
Yes.
Or are they going to stay with their mothers? Yes. Largely the males will say, I want my children here with me, which means that I'm taking them away from the one I'm supposed to be parenting with. I'm giving the task to parent these children that belong to that other partner to now be parented by this new one, who also has her own children or her own child to parent.
That's another dynamic.
It's a fruit salad. It becomes a fruit salad. So it really becomes. Then if I then keep sending this one to get me some water, then I am now abusing this one. If the other one is older, maybe she now can wash the dishes, the others maybe cannot. Then she becomes the laborer in the house. Then there's friction. Why is mine always washing the dishes? Why I was always, So there's a need for people who go to counseling, I always say, to sit down and ask themselves, what are the modalities of raising these children? Who belong to other mothers or other fathers. So we battle. Other people will say, because they are now excited, they've got goosebumps, they want to get married, they say, no, we'll be able to manage. Sure. 2 weeks down the line, there's a problem. This one is doesn't respect me as his mother. But you're not his mother. No. The person is a different mother. So this co-parenting thing is like Kenneth said, it's not impossible. It's possible. But there must be a lot of compromises that are going to have to be made. So if now you are sharing a family, you brought your own kids, now you start your own family, you have now kids from this marriage, then it means you are going to have times when you bring all these kids together into one family. Now they are fighting for their father because it's their father. And they're fighting for their mother because their mother. And there are those from this marriage who are saying, these are our official parents. You guys are bastard children.
As they always say.
Exactly. So there is no rule. I've never. I'm sure that maybe there are tools, but I'm yet to meet a family that says we're able to strike the balance, we are able to parent, and our children are happy and they're excited. Yeah. But when they grow up, director, and if you have instilled, or whichever parent has instilled principles and values, you find that it works very well.
Okay.
But the issue is the foundational issues.
Yeah.
How do you do? Makanya was saying earlier, I want to instill my own values. The other part, that's the co-parent, is saying, I want to instill my own values. Yeah. So there's a conflict of values. If they are then different, then we confuse the children. Yeah. They're messed up. They will need me to come to therapy to pay me to untangle that web of confusion. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is that others have done it and it has worked. But I'm yet to find one that is precisely 100% foolproof. You won't find that one.
Yeah, Kenneth, I can see you want to come in there.
Yeah, I wanted to step in actually, to actually say that is there any post-divorce counseling that is provided to couples? Because usually courts deal with issues of custody, visitation rights, and all that, and issuing orders. But then, for us to actually balance the modalities and dynamics of parenting, of co-parenting, because some of us we need some form of counseling and education on how to handle ourselves, on how to handle our responsibilities as parents, as distant parents, so to say. That form of guidance and counseling for couples.
There are tools. There are tools that are there that can be used in terms of post-divorce counseling. Okay. Actually, there are other people, which is fortunate or unfortunate, not sure for the children, who will have gone to post-divorce counseling and found that this couple, as they come together to this post, they then find their way back together. But then the problem would be if I've already now committed to someone else, then I'm now messing up another relationship that was already bad.
Then it means I shouldn't move on before the post.
So which means your post-divorce counseling should happen, especially if there are children. Actually, post-divorce must be done whether there are children or not. Because it really hurts. To separate with someone or to part ways with someone, unless obviously there was abuse and other things and physical abuse and all of those things. You are saved if you are divorcing that person. But if it was something that there was menial that could have actually been resolved, you go to counseling, you find a way back together, and it's all and good. We are going to be happy as Bafundis that you found a way back. But where the issue of parenting is concerned, I've seen Western tools. I've never used it here locally. I've never had an opportunity to counsel people who have been divorced. Or I've counseled people who have been divorced. One was divorced. The guy was divorced. He cited irreconcilable differences. Was marrying someone now who has not been divorced but has a child. So we worked. There was a time they had to quit counseling for weeks because I asked them to go and sit down and ask this guy what is irreconcilable, so that it may not be reconcilable in this relationship. So I gave an assignment. They quit for about 4 weeks. Never came back to counseling until they had found some semblance of how they can deal with the issue. But it's a tough space. It's a tough one.
I want also to come to you, Kenneth. Without putting you in the spotlight, but I want for you. Would you then want to get into another relationship, which will be stable? By stable, I mean find a partner that you'll want to spend your life with, and then say, I also want to raise my children with this particular partner. Do you imagine a situation like that, or you don't see anyone raising your children except for you and their original mothers where they are right now?
Okay. So you are speaking about bringing
your children,
my children,
to stay with you. Yes.
Well, with regards to finding a new partner, a stable relationship, I do desire that.
Okay.
That's a fact. But then, with regards to the children, I think it's a safe and environment for them to be raised by their mothers.
Yeah.
By their mothers, yeah. Because vele ngesiswati kuthiwa ingalmunyisa. That's the truth of the matter. So I think that space is safer, and more conducive for the kids to actually live with their own mom, and me stepping in occasionally from time to time to actually provide that guidance, instill those.
But the flip side of that,
I wanted to go there. I wanted to go there on the flip side of the coin, but let him finish.
I have disturbed you, so I'll continue.
Yeah, actually I do, Director. to sum it.
Yeah.
I do, but then again, I've actually enjoyed both spaces.
Okay.
The singleness. I've seen the benefits. Over the years. I also miss part of the benefits of being in a marriage.
Okay.
So I think I'm conflicted.
Conflicted.
Whether I want to remain single or I want to get into marriage again. But with regards to the kids, I think the older one has set a very good example.
Okay.
And I believe that it's possible to actually do it in the current arrangement that we are in.
Yeah, because you can take him on now, right?
No. I wanted to take him on something, but he's probably addressed it. See, when you said, I think I wanted to add something to say, what if the child feels like, I want to spend time with dad in this current relationship? Then what happens then? Because remember, the children also, you are also worried. Whenever it gets worse, you're also an activist, and human rights activist. You are concerned about the right of the child.
Yes.
Their participation in how they are raised. How then do you deal with they are better off with their mother, not in this level, but the child feels like, I want my dad.
Exactly.
Yeah. In a situation there, I think it's something that can be negotiated. But usually, what I've seen in my experience, there's quite a lot of resistance from the mom. In terms of giving the child to the father to raise with another woman, that makes it worse for them. So they're quite defensive in terms of that. I think maybe the mammalian brain becomes very active.
It kicks in.
No, but for me, I think a director, just to probably come in there, I like what my Kenneth is saying. And I've seen, unfortunately, I'm not saying unfortunately, I've seen women who have agreed in terms of compromising certain of their standards because they love the man. To say, I can take these children and raise them as mine. Especially because there's this dogmatic thinking from us African men to say, I cannot allow another, or African women, and men. I cannot allow, even the men say the same. I can't allow my children to be raised up and the other side. But we found there's evidence. I can even draw studies for you. There's evidence of mothers who have adopted in their spouses' children. It's usually the mothers who brought in, and they've raised them like their own children. Obviously, because of humanistic of being human. There will be those traces of favoritism here and there, but they try as much as possible to balance the way they raise the kids. I met one recently in a wedding in South Africa. I think he brought the guy brought 3 children
into the marriage.
Okay. The woman has 3 also, and when they were at the wedding, I couldn't even see that they were not even her children. The way she handled and managed. They are now old. College graduates. All of them are college graduates.
6 of them.
6 of them. Yeah. All of them are college graduates. And the husband, when he speaks about his wife, the passion around how this woman accepted me with all my baggage. Because I didn't want my children to be raised. Because I think the mothers went into family relationships. And it felt like and he is well endowed, the guy. And he said, instead of my children going to struggle there, and the mothers were just enjoying siphoning, or that's what he used, the word he used, siphoning resources, and not even my children benefiting directly from the money I was sending.
Yeah.
I asked, I begged this one. And he said, no, but I'm married to you. So all the baggage you have is mine also.
Yeah.
She took everything. So, in other words, I'm saying it's possible.
Okay.
I like what Makanya said. He said, I can negotiate it. Because you may, I've got guys that I'm dealing with now,
Yeah.
who eventually said, because the child was dividing he is the one that came with the child.
Okay.
The child was dividing the family. We suggested, no, take the child to your mom's. Let him leave. But the guy said, I can't live without my child. We said, you should leave. Because now your obligation is to this woman that you've married now.
Okay.
So the child now visits sometimes, but stays at Coco's. Guy is aggrieved. He's still aggrieved now. He feels like, because you are my wife, you must. And I said to him, but you can't say you must. You must negotiate.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, gentlemen, that said, as you have rightfully put it, but I think there's another element to it.
Yeah.
We've seen children that are bleeding,
Yeah.
and children that are broken as a result of such an arrangement that it was neglected by both parties.
Yeah.
We have actually committed ourselves to raise these children and co-parent, but in the process, it so happened that we neglected that due to many reasons.
Yeah.
Some of them, they range from I've moved on into another relationship, which doesn't allow me to focus back to my children. But for some reason, I feel like I love this lady so much that I don't want to actually annoy her with my baggage. In so doing, then I've neglected then my role to parent these children, even though I'm no longer together with their mother. So now, sitting here, there are children that are watching us that have been as a result of such an arrangement that has been neglected. How then do we make amends when it comes to that?
You see, director, this for me, I know in modern society this sounds like rocket science.
Yeah.
But if I were to ask around here as we are sitting, how many of us grew up in their grandmothers and seeing their mothers at the end of the year or sometime during the end of the term coming back from work raised by their grandmothers? And the second question is, how have we become? Are we as horrible?
No.
Maybe we are not.
Yeah.
Because society has dictated certain parameters of how parents should look like.
Okay.
I argue with a lot of professors, even global, to say I can never say I'm broken. Never.
Okay.
I argue all the time. I'm not a broken child. I even wrote an opinion piece. What is broken by being raised by a single parent?
Yes.
I was arguing that because sociologists keep on insisting that we are broken. But if this parent plays this role and then exposes you to your father, like he's 26-year-old,
Yes.
and has a warm and cordial relationship, it means it's possible
Okay.
for you to be raised in an extended family by different. It takes a village.
A village. Yeah.
And you are exposed to both parties.
Yeah.
Okay.
With their flaws, and because they are going to be flawed. And God deliberately then chooses families to raise us. Imagine me being raised in a family with a platinum spoon in their mouth. What would I have become? A horrible man.
Yeah, yeah.
But because God wanted something to be done by me as I'm doing now, sitting with you,
Yeah.
I had to be raised by Coco Zulu,
Okay.
as single as she is. Now, to back to your question, the one who's watching is thinking, I am broken. There's nothing broken about you.
Okay.
There's nothing broken about that guy that's watching. It's only that circumstances happened. People happened. People felt they didn't love one another.
And they decided.
Yeah. So the man who says, I love the woman so much that I want to relinquish my duties is a foolish man. I'm sorry to say, that's foolishness.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility. Once something comes out of your loins, you have a task. No matter how distant that person is, you have a task to find ways to father the child, parent the child. So I know there's arguments. People say that she doesn't want, we are going to create criminals and bleeding children, like you are saying, simply because we don't want to take responsibility. We need to find ways. Makaya made example of telephone calls, video calls. These things work. You call, you visit, you ask it out for KFC, listen to them speak. Once they speak, they seek for advice. Sometimes children will not speak to you because they want you to give them an answer. But because they are getting a puncher point, they want to say something to someone who will listen to them without judgment. When they raise it at home, mom will throw pots. So they won't tell mom. They come to dad listens. And seems to be connected to my story. And that will be enough for the child. We never got the opportunity. I never got to just go and speak to my father. I never had a chance. And when I grew up, I felt sometimes I would feel like I would pass number 1 in school. I was always the best student. Guys would be passing number 35. They'd come back with new sneakers. And I'm like, but you got sneakers. What percentage you get? 35.
So
your father bought you sneakers for 35. I went to my mother, I bought for you didn't buy me anything. And she would look at me and say, Funzela mini. Funzela mini.
Thank you so much for actually painting that picture.
I'm fighting from all sides.
And I can see that is coming from within you because it's something that you can relate with. Also, Makanya, I think for you were also raised in a setup where your father was there occasionally. So now I think that is why, judging from what we are saying, you actually want to be present in the life of your children. Because there are things that you have seen that if my father was present in the way that I wanted him to be, some of the things I should have actually changed. I think for children, we need to understand that the mistakes that we've seen done in the past, they are there for us to actually correct that and amend that. So how much of importance it is to you then to say, well, my father was not there. There is 1, 2, and 3 that I think if he was there, I would actually benefited from it. But because 1, 2, and 3 was not there, 1, 2, and 3, I want to take it now to the lives of my children.
No, thank you very much, Dalit. I think the experience for me was valuable. I think I picked quite a lot of lessons from that arrangement. And of course, as you say, that it has broadened my view in terms of how to do it better, because my father as well was working far away. He would be home occasionally from time to time, maybe month end. So I think I picked quite a lot of lessons in terms of keeping the connection with your kids. Because as you said earlier, once you fall in love with someone else, then usually for many men, they begin to neglect their kids. They begin to neglect their responsibilities as fathers. We often speak with Pastor Clement about having an emotional thermostat, being able to regulate your emotions, because if loving someone or the love that you feel for someone overpowers your love for your kids, there's something wrong with you.
Definitely.
You need to regulate that. Nothing should disturb the feelings, the strong feelings that we have for your children. So I think those lessons have been part of my life. I don't want to repeat the same mistakes that my dad made during the time, because some of them were not deliberate, but it was out of maybe innocence, or also toxic emotions that were involved between him and mom, and it actually strengthened me and gave me valuable lessons that I'm using today to actually make sure that I'm a proper father to my kids.
Exciting indeed. We're still currently tuned to the Bull of Heart podcast as we're winding up and coming towards an end. I think what all of us were picking from this conversation is that it is very important for us, especially as men, to make sure that we are ever present in our lives or the lives of our children, and make sure that whatever thing happen in our lives, but we should choose to be responsible to our children and play that responsibility. Gentlemen, as parting shots, what would you say to children that are in that arrangement? 1, 2, to us that have decided now that we're not seeing eye to eye or eye for eye, but but then still we want so much which is best for our children, regardless of our relationship and our situation.
I think mine would probably be directed to the children.
Yeah.
The parents, I think Makanya will talk to the parents. the children, if you are a child and you are being co-parented, one of the things that I want you to understand is that
yeah.
Because not even one parent, I know we speak about deviance and all of those things, not even one parent ever sits down and thinks, I want this for my children.
Exactly.
It's not really valid.
Yeah.
So work with them. If it's time for you to go and see your dad, go and see your dad. Make the best out of it. With your mom, make the best out of the relationship with your mom, and then learn lessons. When we speak about lessons, I was listening to what Makanya was saying. The flip side about me, I decided I don't want. I usually say church, and they get angry with me because I'm a product of fornication.
Yeah.
Because they were not married.
Okay.
And I decided that for me going forward,
Yeah.
I need to have my children within wedlock.
Okay.
Am I saying I'm the best in what I'm doing? No.
No. Yeah.
I struggle. Sometimes I don't know how to say things to my children. But because I am trying to establish a new legacy of doing things, what was never done before.
Yeah.
I've read it in books, but they were Western. No one is writing stories here in Eswatini for me to learn from Swazis.
Exactly.
I only learn from Makanya, who are telling the story today. So what then becomes practical is that children must work together, parents must work together for their own sake. Because even if you are in that nice, close relationship, your children still in the night you think about them. So fix those issues with your children, with your ex-partner, and then parent the child so that you can raise a child that is going to become a proper citizen in the future.
Thank you so much, Kosi. Yes.
Well, I think for me, one parting shot is to say that co-parenting is possible.
Okay.
And it's doable. It's actually the commitment of both parties to say that I want to learn, because it's a lifelong learning process.
Yes.
I want to learn, I want to do better every day. And if you commit to that, you can do it and raise children successfully. So thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure for me to host you. And I'm looking forward to more episodes in the future where we'll come and discuss more issues around such subjects. To our viewers, I think and we believe that you were actually correctly thrilled by the conversations that we've had in this episode. And to be part of the conversation and continuing to be part of them, remember to like and comment in our podcast and share so that as many people can get to benefit from such insightful conversations. Otherwise, as your host, Cicero Nzime, it has been an absolute pleasure for me to host you in this episode. Until we meet again and see you in the next episode. For now, it's bye and cheers. See you in the next episode. So meaning to say, Ngozi, it does happen, Gogotsi, even if your father is not there. But I think what we are raising is that it starts with you as an individual.
Yes, sir.
What inspires you and how far you want to go in life, then that propels you to become the responsible father and husband that you want to be.
Yes, sir.